Well, good evening.
On that note, welcome to the Rally for Red October live Q&A. Yes, thank you. Presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud partner of the Philadelphia Phillies. We're here today to, of course, help get you ready for the postseason, answer some questions, talk amongst ourselves. I am, of course, joined by Michael Barkann, the host of Phillies Pre- and Post-Game Live. Ben Davis, who is both our color analyst during games and an analyst on Pre- and Post-Game Live. The Fanatic is insisting that I introduce him before Tom.
Yeah.
So the Philadelphia Fanatic, the icon that he is in this city. Yeah. I heard if you shout louder, depending on which section you're in, he'll come and give you some of those belly rolls that he does so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. And finally, the voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, Tom McCarthy, is here with me as well.
Yeah. How about it?
First and foremost, how are we feeling, gentlemen? They got a workout in yesterday, intra-squad scrimmage today. It's intra, not inter, as we were discussing yesterday, and some more practices before Saturday. How are we feeling, Tom?
I think we're feeling pretty good. I mean, people ask all the time about who you want to play, the Brewers or the Mets. I don't think it matters. I really don't. I think the thing that matters more than anything else is you have Zach Wheeler on the mound, 4 o'clock on Saturday. The place is going to go nuts, and I think we're going to be in great shape.
Ben, how are you feeling about everything?
I feel great. I'm just a little concerned about the layoff and the timing for the hitters. So that really is my only concern moving forward. Now, having said that, these guys are as professional as anyone I've ever met. I think they'll be ready to rock and roll, and I think a few of these guys were able to rest up and get a little healthier.
Now, if anybody is going to give us an unbiased, potentially critical opinion on this panel, it might be the guy all the way to my left, Michael Barkann. No, I'm just kidding, Mike. Michael, how are you feeling about the week off, who they could potentially play, what the postseason looks like in the NL especially?
I feel impending doom, Taryn.
Oh, my gosh, Michael.
No, I'm joking, obviously. I'm pumped up. I like that they're playing a simulated game today. I think that's very important. The only question I have is yesterday Dave Dombrowski told you and the assembled that I feel really good about our 4 starters. And I'm thinking, you got 3 starters. I don't know about the 4th starter. We'll see what happens. We can get into that. But Ranger Suarez, let's call it like it is. He has struggled mightily in the second half of the season. I don't know what happens when his position, if his position, comes up in the rotation. Eventually it will.
Let's circle back to that in a minute because I do want to break down this week first as it's something that we've all kind of touched on here. The workout yesterday, Dave Dombrowski told us he was concerned about the hitters as well, and so there was going to be a big focus on high velocity hitting in the cage with the machine that'll show you different trajections on the pitches. And also in talking to Austin Hayes, who had a bye last year with the Orioles, he said one of the things that was different that the Phillies were doing this year from what the Orioles did last year was they didn't do like a full intra-squad scrimmage the way the Phillies are doing it. They did live at-bats with maybe some guys out in the field practicing defensively. What do you like about the way the Phillies are choosing to approach this, Tom?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they're trying something that may be a little different. Now, they have coaches that have been through this before and they also have a vice president, general manager, Dave Dombrowski, who was through this before. Even though it wasn't a bye, he had to sit and wait for his team to perform. So they've seen this work. I like the fact that they're trying something different. I don't know if the high-velocity machine is going to help or hurt. We won't know until Saturday. I mean, look at what the Orioles did yesterday. They didn't have a bye, and they didn't do anything against the Kansas City Royals. To me, the biggest factor for this ball club is that Zach Wheeler starts on Saturday. That's it, because he will set the tone from a pitching standpoint.
At the same time, Tommy, I think that there has been, however small, a trend established that if you get that bye, you might struggle with the first team you meet. And I think knowledge is a great thing.
No doubt.
And the Phillies have that knowledge beforehand. And I think they, with this veteran status of these guys on this team, they're going to do everything they can to prevent it from losing.
Ben, what would you have needed if you were going to have that long of a layoff? And it's not like an all-star break.
Well, he would have needed a cheesesteak, probably a burger, maybe a
Some
steak.
whole milk, some cold
No
glasses
desserts,
of
though.
cold
He does
milk.
not like desserts.
Yeah.
I would like to see, and I'm sure a lot of these guys will do that today, it's not necessarily the swing, it's the timing and tracking pitches. So you might see a lot of guys get in the cage today and just literally just stand there and just track pitches and just, work on getting their foot down and like, I'm going to go, now I'm going to take it. So I think that you're going to see a lot of that, especially from some of the veteran guys. These guys take so many swings throughout the course of the day. We've seen them in the cages, then they're out on the field off the curveball machine, then they're taking live batting practice. It's unbelievable. I thought I took a lot of swings before the game. These guys take it to a whole new level. So the swing themselves will be fine. It's just a matter of their timing.
Let's talk about the pitching a little bit. I know you mentioned Zach, and Zach certainly is a game changer. There's obviously a lot of Cy Young talk right now, and that's also something I'd like to revisit later if we have time. But we know Zach, he likes to pitch like 5 to 6 days, every 5th or 6th day. Is there any concern for you, Tom, in terms of – no, you're shaking your head before I even finish the question.
No, there's no concern about a layoff for him. Now, maybe that first inning he might have to find it a little bit, but there's no concern for me because I think at this point in the year, with 200 innings under his belt, I think it's okay for him to have a couple of extra days. And I think the adrenaline rush of pitching in front of our fans, in front of a sold-out crowd at Citizens Bank Park.
Yes, sir.
Potentially to be against the team that I do feel like he thinks he still has been slighted by for a number of reasons. I think that's going to be lifting enough for him. I don't – it's funny. I think for me, I keep thinking about the psychological part of these sort of questions that we have for the Phillies. You know, is the layoff going to bother them? Is the layoff going to bother Zach Wheeler? Things like that. It's all part of it, and I think that these guys have been around long enough that they can sort of compartmentalize it and be able to physically get through what would be a good thing, which is a layoff.
And
a good thing, which is a layoff.
And there are rhythms and flows
Right.
of the game. There's the summer game, and now, blessedly, we are entering the autumn game, which is a lot less fun than the summer game when you're talking to your neighbor and having a hot dog. We watch every single – well, you watch every single pitch anyway. But when you look at it now, this flow of the game, he pitches every 5th day. That's what he likes. But he knows now, as does everybody, that's just not the way it happens once you enter the postseason. So I think he's going to be great and then some.
Well, and it was interesting because I asked Aaron Nola about that, about his layoff and dealing with that, and I'm sure it was a shock to know. And he was like, I don't know. I don't really mind. I think I'll be ready. Plus,
Gives him a
once you
chance
get
to go out to
there-
another restaurant.
Yeah, he's like, when you get
Yeah.
out there in October, you kind of just gets the juices going anyway. And I was like, Aaron, I didn't know that was like your level ever changed from month to month. But we do have a fan question presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealer, so I'm going to send it over to Ashley, who also has taken on the role of Bobby's babysitter.
Bobby!
Today. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, guys, first of all,
Bobby.
shout out to Bobby. Can we all just give Bobby a round of applause? He might be the cutest fan here. Not that I'm discriminating,
Bobby.
but come on. I mean, look at this face. He's a legend
Bobby
already.
watches a lot of Phillies games also and has
Exactly.
absolutely no reaction.
I
when
hear
he's on television.
he's gonna be the bat dog in Clearwater. And they're
That dog
looking for a
is not
position.
well trained enough for
Could
that.
not see that dog
We're gonna
holding
get
the
him
bat.
there. We're gonna get him.
He would take a ball and run away with it. Sorry, go ahead, Ash.
No, you're good. So first question just comes from Ed O'Donnell, just about spreading the love during Red October and how we get the whole city to feel it.
Yeah, Ed O'Donnell, my friend Tug McGraw, who helped my charity, talked about the magic of baseball. So let's use these playoffs to spread the love to the whole city and the worst parts of the city, too.
Yeah.
So he was wondering how the heck we do this, guys. How do we get everyone to feel Red October across the
Oh
city?
my gosh.
I think it just spreads naturally because it's a communal event we're having today. Baseball is the center of our community for many of us. I don't care what part of the city that you're from, and when your team starts to do well, you really whose day isn't improved by a Phillies win or an Eagles, Sixers,
No
or
doubt.
Flyers, for goodness sakes. And so that's how you bring the community together.
Well, Tom and Ben as well. Ben, I'll go to you first here because you've played all over. You've seen everywhere. You've covered all over. You've covered NFL everywhere as well. How does Philly stack against all of them? Because I know we always talk about it, and we are biased, but it is not like any other place I've ever been.
I don't honestly think you can't compare it to any other place. You simply can't. And they say they have great franchises in different parts of the country. We understand that, and fan bases. It's nothing like it is here in South Philadelphia, and it's an advantage first and foremost. The players feed off it, and I think the opposing players cower to it. So I think it's something it's obviously in the Phillies' favor, and the players just love it. They truly appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's comparable to an Alabama football game in the SEC. I think it's the energy level of a big-time game, whether it be Alabama and Georgia, or last year I did Alabama Ole Miss. I think it's like an SEC football game, but it's on steroids, and I think it's every single day.
I think you're right, but at the same time, I don't know how much booing you'll hear from Alabama fans. It's like Roll Tide regardless. And Phillies players or the other sports, they get booed, and they get booed because we also know what they should be able to do. And we want to see a day's work for a day's pay. And if we feel like there's less than that, and we saw it with Trey Turner. And what happened last year with Trey Turner? He got the love, which is a rarity in this town when you're underperforming. But he did, and it was spontaneous, in my opinion, despite the Netflix documentary. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
All right, we're going back to Ashley, who has another question from the crowd.
Yeah, we are all lined up with another question, and Melanie and Bobby are looking for the X Factor, guys.
Hi, guys. So, obviously, we've had 162 regular season games. We have a good idea of who these players are. And there are people that we're going to expect to contribute no matter what. You know, you have Bryce Harper, you have Trey Turner, you have Zach Wheeler. We're expecting them to show up. Someone like Rojas, you're expecting a little more. His impact will be defensively. But who do you think is really the X factor for the NLDS and playoffs as a whole? We could get the best version, we could get the worst version, but whatever version of them we get is the version of the playoffs that we get.
Great question.
It's a really good question.
It's a very good question.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm going to go Alec Boehm. I think Alec Boehm needs to step up and be the Alec Boehm that he was for the first 3 quarters of the season. And I know a lot of it has to do with his hand, but I think that he will get refocused for this. And I think if they get that in either the 5th or 6th spot, because I think Castellanos has solidified the cleanup spot for the Phillies, at least for the time being. I think that it's a really important piece to this puzzle.
Yeah, I would say Trey Turner. Michael, I know Michael just mentioned him, but I think he's an X factor because of how many different ways he can beat you. We know his athleticism, his speed. He's an average guy, but he also can hit for power. And if he's able to really put it all together in the playoffs, he's one of those guys that can carry a ball club. Plus, when he's on first base, they're going to have to pitch to Bryce Harper. I'm not so much worried about Schwarber or Harper because they do what they do because of who they are. But if Turner can really get it going, he can carry a ball club.
I'm going to say it's one of the unsung guys and someone you might not expect, but a fan favorite, Cody Clemens. And while his batting average,
Yeah, Cody.
Yeah, Cody.
Kid rakes.
Well, the kid
Yeah, he
can rake.
does.
Kid can rake. His batting average might not suggest that, but Tom, you know that he has stepped to the plate in consequential situations this season, and he has come through in a big way, and I would extend that to the bench. We've seen in every postseason and World Series.
Kurt Bavacqua.
Yeah. Kirk Gibson he couldn't play.
Yeah.
Kirk Gibson with the home run against the A's. It happens, and we talk about good pitching beating good hitting. Ain't necessarily so, and moments in the postseason are made from that.
I'm going with he was my X factor to begin with, and then I asked Rob Thompson his biggest surprise this season is Christopher Sanchez, especially if Ranger Suarez is struggling.
Yes.
You need Christopher Sanchez. He has become beyond, I think, what anybody even hoped the next step would be for him. He went even beyond that. And if Ranger's not quite right, then you're going to need Sanchez to be as good as he has been this season. It'll just be very interesting to see how Sanchez fares on the road versus at home, where Thompson chooses to
how
use
about
him.
that?
So,
Where's he going to use him? That's the.
Rob did tell us that there were at the end of the season there were performances that gave him confidence in his ability to pitch on the road. So who knows? But we asked Aaron yesterday if you know when you're pitching, if you know where you're pitching, if you care. Aaron said no. So we'll see what Rob chooses to do with all that situation. But yeah, I'm a big fan of what Sanchez has done this season. All right, Ash, we have another question.
We are back, guys. Marty has a question for Ben.
Hey, Ben, as not an analyst, but as a catcher, how concerned are you with Ranger in these playoff games now?
Well, I was a little concerned from the second half. Anytime you're dealing with a back issue, it was on one side of the back, and he came back, and then it was on the other side of the back. So anytime it's concerned with your back, it's something that you really have to think about. I think he was a little, as Rob Thompson always likes to tell us, he had struggled taking the governor off. And I think he just was not really letting it go. Physically, he's fine. It's just a matter of mentally getting back to where he needs to be. I just think that the pitches don't have the finish on him. Like, he's not throwing it through the mitt. It's kind of getting to the mitt and just kind of fading. The curveball's a little loopy. The changeup hasn't been there. But with Ranger, it's the playoffs, and he becomes a different animal in the playoffs, and I wouldn't put it past him to go out there and just honestly go out and give me 8 shutout innings, because that's what he does, and we've seen that the last couple of years. So if anyone, I wouldn't put it past him, definitely be Ranger.
I also think that they have time to prepare for his first start, whenever it is, whether it be next Wednesday in New York or next Wednesday in Milwaukee. I also have so much faith in Caleb Cotham and Brian Kaplan and Cesar Ramos that they can possibly figure out whatever mechanically is wrong with him, that they have the time to get it right, at least try to get it right. And the other part of it, too, the leash, not Bobby's, excuse me, the leash is going to be really short for him when it comes to the postseason.
Bobby's is retractable, so sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. Right now it's as long as Ashley's arm because she is his babysitter here. What is it about Ranger and the work that they can do, Tom, that you'd like to see in terms of adjustments that you think could get him back to where he needs to be?
Well, I think Ben alluded to it, and I think he probably could talk better about it than I can, but I think it's the finishing of the curveball, and it's also the finishing of the changeup. I still think his command of his fastball on the glove side is still good. I think his velocity is good, and that's the thing, folks, that I am so happy about, is that his last outing, his fastball was 91 and 92 miles an hour. To me, and I know this is different than what other people have thought, my feeling has been his curveball and his changeup command on the edges, on the edge of the strike zone. And I have a lot of faith in him, and I have a lot of faith in the coaching staff that they may mechanically be able to figure that out.
And one thing they're trying to get him to do is be a little bit longer with his stride. If you get longer with your stride, you get better extension on your pitches and on your release.
You want to show
points.
us?
No, not really. But you get better extension on those pitches.
Get right up here.
Yeah, right. But that'll enable you to have that better finish, more snap on the breaking ball, more fade on the changeup, and I think that's going to enabling him to do that. He's got to be healthy, and right now he is.
Ben's stride would be the entire length of this table. Michael B?
One other thing, and you can, all three of you can dispel this if you like, but there's been this little whisper that
is this a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Okay.
June 19th was either his last win or his first loss in this slide, and then his family came up from Venezuela, and he's just very comfortable right now. And they had never seen him pitch before, and he's been here for a while, and that basically that comfort has kind of taken the edge off of him. Tom McCarthy.
Michael, I think when your family is around and you're a player of his caliber, I think it's a gift. I think it's a comfort, yes, but I think it's a gift, and I don't look at that as a crutch at all. If that's a crutch, then his family will be around him his entire life, so he's got to figure it out. That to me is a gift.
Plus, I'm sure on just like a logical level, getting to have like your son in the crowd, watch you pitch in the playoffs,
I think it's an ultimate gift
environment would be. I would imagine it would give you more juice than you've ever had. But
I say the same. Bobby's here. My daughter and son-in-law are here, so I get it. We have friends. We love.
And we've never performed like this, Michael. What does that say?
We're at the top.
Ashley hasn't either. I mean, she's driving it home right now.
We're at the top of our games. You're right. But there's got to be some reason for his dramatic fall off.
I just think his back is bad.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Honestly, I think. I mean, it's funny when you hear certain things about it, and I know people have had that conversation. To me, I don't think you can bring family into it when it comes to a player, because I do think it's important for them to have that support. Think about Jose Alvarado when his family came into town and what it meant to him, how important it was. We are so fortunate to live in the society we live in where we're able to reach out and have our family around us as often as possible. For guys like Ranger Suarez and Jose Alvarado, from where they come from, it's really difficult for their families to get here. So I think it's more of a gift than anything else.
And also, in talking to Caleb, and he's told me this on the record before, they had to get him to buy back into, you can go this hard, you can throw this hard, you can make this action, which is probably a little more violent than any of us could in terms of our. Tom, you really don't want me to show it.
All right, I'll do it. Come on, Michael.
But I would pay good money. 6 inches. But yeah, they had to get him to reinvest in the belief that he's 100% healthy, and that they felt like his last start or the start right before that he was mentally there. But that's easier said than done when you get out there and you have to actively think.
The
about
only
your
reason I'm
delivery.
making so much of this is because think about the Ranger Suarez from end of March until the middle of June. If the Phillies have that Ranger Suarez, it's their hands down parade
100%.
right there.
No doubt.
But I don't think that Ranger Suarez thinks about every single mechanism of his delivery. I think it's innate to him, and I think since the back injury, there's certain aspects of things he has to think about in order to get back to the way he was before. I believe we have a question for Ashley submitted
From
online.
Bobby.
Yep. So first of all, guys, can we get a "Let's Go Phillies"? I'm feeling like the energy is a little low.
Where's the Cobra? Get the Cobra out
Get
there.
the
Cobra,
Cobra.
get out there.
Thank you. Much better. Much better. Okay. And on that note, I know Michael kind of already talked about this, but who on the team has been a bit of a sleeper who you think could be a postseason hero?
Marsh is actually. Who said Marsh?
Right
I
there.
think-
it was his mother. Right there. Marsh's mom is here.
I think that that's a pretty good choice. I mean, I really do. I mean, it could. You know, the great thing about the postseason, it could be anybody, but why not? I mean, he's hitting close to 300 over his last 40 games, so you know, and he's hitting better against left-handers. I know it's a small fraction of it, but yeah, why not? Why not Brandon Marsh? Why not Brandon Marsh?
I'm going to say Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come in and have to get some big outs. He's going to have to get some strikeouts. I think he's got the fortitude to do so.
Fortitude.
Fortitudimus.
I like Bohm. I like Bohm for
Bohm.
it. I just think now that the 100 RBI rates, like all that extra stuff is the pressure of it's kind of everybody resets at 0. I think for Bohm that's going to mentally be a good thing, and hopefully he can, you know, rip off in the postseason and go on a tear here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sticking with
Cody Clemens.
Cody Clemens, man.
Kurt Bavacqua.
Kurt Bavacqua, absolutely.
Denny Doyle.
Denny Doyle. I love Denny Doyle. Yes, and
All these folks are going to have to Google these names.
And look, I remember when the Phillies played the Giants NLCS and Cody Ross. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We're like, who the hell is this? Excuse my French.
Cody Ross.
Who the heck is this guy?
Remember that.
Yeah. All he did was smack the ball out of the park. Where has this been all season? He's doing it now. So there's performances like that all the time, and I think Cody Clemens is going to offer one. Cody Clemens.
Well, I'm glad I brought Bobby to this because right now it is time to let the dogs eat. A very special segment presented by Hatfield, which will let Brandon March start off.
And we're going to have to let the dogs eat. Oh.
We let the dogs out.
So we're going to go down the line and say the keys to the Phils winning the NLDS. For me, it's going to be, I mean, this might be obvious, but because it's Zach Wheeler, it's going to be pitching.
So the Phillies starting pitchers have led the league in 6-inning outings or more, and I think that has to continue in the postseason for them to be successful.
I know you win championships with pitching and defense, but the lineup has to stay consistent throughout the playoffs. We can't have hit 5 home runs one game.
That would be cool.
And not score any runs in the next.
That wouldn't be cool.
No, we saw that happen last year when they went out to the desert, and it was their ultimate demise. So they got to hit. The boys got to hit.
I would say the same, but I would also add Nick Castellanos. Is he batting cleanup? Is that?
I believe he's going to bat cleanup.
Which I like, and we wondered whether when Bohm returned, he would stay at cleanup. He is staying at cleanup. I think that's good news. We know when he's going well because he's not swinging at pitches that are low and way off the plate, and he has not done that. You know how well he's been hitting, Tommy and Taryn. I think that as Castellanos goes, in no small way, so will the Phillies go, and they might need to help out Bryce. Bryce might get his hits, but I don't know about getting his home runs. We're going to see.
Real quick, I want to get to this fan question really quick.
Let's
because
go.
we had a preview, essentially, of what these NLDS matchups could look like not that long ago with this Phillies road trips. Was there anything there that gave you major cause for concern as you look ahead to the potential matchups in this DS?
You know, the only thing that caused me concern, if it was the Mets, is the guy that's pitching today for the Mets. So he would pitch Game 3 of the National League Division Series, and that's Sean Manaea. Because the Phillies, they couldn't do anything against him. That's the only thing. I really, and I know that this is the consummate, the glass is half full. I just don't think that these other teams, including the Dodgers, if you break them down top to bottom, match up well against the Phillies. I think it's all about the Phillies. I think it's all about them and not the other teams.
I agree. The one thing that caused me for concern is the strikeouts. We saw a lot of them in Milwaukee. We saw back-to-back games of 16 strikeouts.
But they were 5-1 when they struck out 16.
Very true.
Or more.
And then they went to New York, and they took 3 out of 4 in New York because they were throwing fastballs up top and then breaking balls below the zone, and the Phillies are going after it. So there is a book as to how to pitch these guys. It's just a matter of the Phillies making the adjustments.
I want the Mets. That's the first thing. I want the Mets, and be careful what you wish for because you might get it. The Phillies took the season series from them. The Mets took 3 out of the last 4. 3 out of the last 4 of the teams played. And you heard Tom mention Sean Manaea. They've got some pitchers on that team. They've got some bats that will surprise you when you least expect it. You think, okay, we've got him now. And Nimmo hits a home run, or who was the guy a couple of
Acuna.
weeks ago? Yeah, Acuna. That's right. Luis Angel.
Angel.
Yeah, he like his older brother. So I just think they have to get out of the blocks strong, and there's no team that really. We heard Dave Dombrowski say yesterday, I think we're deeper than we ever have been.
I totally agree with that.
I would agree with it, too. All right, I'm sorry because I've kept you standing here for a very long time. It's time for another fan question presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers. Ashley Hall, take it away.
All right, guys. Well, Kim has a question about a certain song, and Bobby's already fired up about it. A certain song that you may have heard, and what's next for it?
Yeah, so hey guys, I'm a little worried about the juju around dancing on my own.
Me too.
Is there any talk in the clubhouse of a new hype song, or do we think Third Time is the charm?
You know, Mandy by Barry Manilow is a really good song. For
Mandy.
I remember. Oh, wait a yeah. Okay.
You know,
Bobby does not like dancing on my own. He insisted on coming over here to
I
say that.
do believe that Garrett Stubbs has a brand new mix that's going to be released. There is a little taste of dancing on my own in there, but it's the right now. I don't think is the lead dog in the pack.
It's on SoundCloud right now, I believe.
What is
the playlist? The playlist.
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher their last name. I'm so sorry. I ran
Where's
to it
he
the
at?
other
He was
day.
here.
And it's really good. There is a little dancing on my own in it. There's also clips from the game, or clips from games in it. And there's a clip of a very funny Jose Alvarado interview that Tom was a part of.
I lead people to curse. What can I tell
Yeah,
you? Michael, you just cursed. HE double hockey sticks.
I know it, and I apologize. It's not
That's
right.
not nice. Your daughter's here. She should not hear
on
that.
the stream, don't do it.
Yeah, the mix has a number of not suitable for work or your children in the car clips in it, but it's very, very good, and it's really fun. And I think it's like a good refresh. It still, pays tribute to the dancing on my own, but I still like that song. I think it's just a good song. So
I just think it's. I love that song, and I love the Callum Scott version of it as well.
Ricky does too.
Ricky does really loves it, and it's just tired. I mean, let's just get something else that's catchy that evokes a championship. And he's got those two local DJs.
One of them was here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Local DJ.
I mean,
out.
Hollywood's here. Hollywood.
Ashley has another virtual question while I get their names because I do want to give these guys credit, and I know I still have it on my SoundCloud. So Ashley Hall, take it away.
All right, guys. Ryan on social wants to know, will Christopher Sanchez be starting Game 2 at home?
I wish I had that answer. But
You know, it's a great question. I do think they're still deliberating that. I think there's a really good chance he does. But I also think it depends on who they're going to face.
I was going to say, do you think it's more of the opponent or the home and away records?
I think it's probably a combination of both, but I think it's more the home and away records, and I think it's also splitting up the two right-handers. There's a thought process about not having the same style pitcher in back-to-back games.
I think it's partially, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy. I think it's a respect issue that Rob Thompson has for Aaron Nola.
doubt.
And there's no way. It's like this, and we've seen it with players, days off,
no doubt.
injuries.
And that's understandable.
Aaron Nola is the guy, longest tenured player on the Phillies. He's starting Game 2, and we'll work it out in Game 3.
And he clinched you your NL East title
Yeah.
at home. You know? By the way, it's the Armentani brothers. It's on SoundCloud. It's the Winners Win Philadelphia
One of
Phillies.
them was
playlist.
here. One of them was here. He had to go back to work, though.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you blow up his playlist, he doesn't have to go
won't
back to
have
that
to-
job. He
That's
can
actually
stick
a
it
very
on
good
right
point.
on for rally.
Exactly.
Well, we have a very special guest question. It's another Barkann.
No.
He's over with Miss Ashley Hall.
No.
Yeah, you guys might know the person that is with me. I'm just going to hand over the mic, and I'm sorry in advance, Michael.
That's okay. I think she can handle it.
This is just for you, Dad.
Oh.
First of all,
For me,
My
and
word.
Tom and Ben and
Dad,
Taryn.
can I borrow $1,000?
Uncle Tommy will lend it to you.
Dad, they just opened a Reformation on Walnut Street. I need to
yeah,
go.
I need it. I also
Taryn, you don't know how true that is.
Okay. First, who's your favorite child? We need an answer right now. Second of all,
Probably Ricky.
I love you.
No, I would say
I
Benji.
love you. Yeah, Benji.
Their dog Benji.
Sean and Baker Kane.
That's right.
I want to get like a little fun question here. Who is your favorite Philly right now?
My favorite Philly right now, I'm going to go with the old standby because I'm stunned at what he has done for this town. and the team is Bryce Harper. This guy is amazing. It's so, and my favorite child is Benji. There you go. How about that? Because I'm not going to piss off Matt Barkann. Let me tell you. But
potty mouth today.
I know, very. We're on.
We're on the
stream.
We're on the stream.
Family
Say
program.
what you want.
When you're on the stream, you stream.
Yeah.
He's just a baby, Michael. He's just a baby.
I'm sorry, Bobby. Anyway, Bryce Harper's my guy. And when you see him come to the plate and he's wearing the Fanatics shoes and the headband,
He
and
gets
how many
it.
times?
Yeah.
But not only does he get it, he gets hits and he makes plays.
Yeah.
How many players do that and they strike out or they don't perform when the chips are down? Bryce Harper is a guy for the moment, for the big moment, and that's why I'm going with.
That reason.
Yep.
Well, and the other part of it, too, is that I know the home runs have not come in bunches the way they have. Of these doubles, and it's 15 doubles in his last 32 games, and a batting average over 300 in the month of September. Of those doubles, 4 of them have hit the top of the fence.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I mean, depending on the ballpark, they probably would have been out of the ballpark. I mean, if it was Citizens Bank Park, the one in Miami, the 2 in Miami, the one in left center field and one in right center field, would have been out of the ballpark and up about 10 rows.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I mean, it depends on the ballpark, too.
Yeah, 100%. Am I hearing? Do we have another virtual question? No, or are we just still talking about Bryce here? All right, cool. I also, Michael said his favorite. Who's your favorite? Tom and Ben. Ben, I'll go to you first. Who's your favorite Philly right now? Whether it's based on your interactions with them, the way they've played, can be anything.
Can I do 2?
I mean,
If you want
fine.
to.
Well,
it means a little
first
less,
and foremost,
but-
because
Michael made a decision about his favorite child, so
That's exactly right.
They're
Went
all,
right to it.
Wait
They're
till you see
all
photos.
great dudes on this team, but there's no better humans than Kyle Schwarber and Zach
Yeah.
Wheeler.
Yep.
They are just awesome people, and I always want the good guy to do well. But what Zach Wheeler does on the mound every 5th day blows my mind.
And on
He's the
TikTok.
best.
Oh my
Yes, I
gosh.
saw that.
Yes.
He's the best pitch. I just love, and I say it all the time. Michael's probably tired of me here saying it, but I would love to have caught that guy.
Yeah.
Love to. And then watching Kyle Schwarber mash baseballs, it's something you've just never seen someone hit balls that hard and that far and that can sit. It blows my mind how his approach and the way he hits baseballs.
Ben will pick a favorite child.
Yeah, he has
Quickly.
a favorite.
It's Finley.
Quickly.
It's
yeah.
Finley.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We have
Like
4.
an actual child, not
Yeah.
a dog.
And Riley
but
and
can't pick
Kay
a favorite Philly. I
and
can't pick-
Mickey
I
are
can't pick a
upset.
Poor
favorite
Mickey.
Philly. How about you, Tom? I know they are like your children because you interact with them so much.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick one guy. I mean, I think because I've been around him for so long, I think Aaron Nola has always been my favorite guy. I mean, just as a person, just as a pitcher, what he's done for the organization, what he will do for the organization. So I think he's my favorite guy.
If Ben got 2, Mom, can I get 2, please?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to throw in it's someone I've been.
Oh, I thought you were doing children, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. But someone
He's
as
like, forget them kids.
As Ben knows, I've been very critical of in the past, but Nick Castellanos has really impressed me. 162 games. That we have no idea. Ben does to play 162 in Major League Baseball, and we think it's like Little League, and it's so far from that. No one has any idea, including myself. To go out there for 162, to improve consistently through the season as he has, and then to be embraced by the fans the way he has, that's special in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and
so
on every single person you mentioned, Nick Castellanos, always the first guy out in the cage, with Liam out there shagging balls with his teammates, will always make time for a conversation. As much as he doesn't really like interviews, he will always have a conversation and try to be thoughtful and insightful. Kyle Schwarber, whenever somebody from Phillies Charities walks up to Kyle Schwarber or Brandon Marsh, they always say, yeah, I can make some time. I can go talk to this kid. I can go sign this thing, whatever. Zach, like, not only is he so impressive, he's an impressive human being as well. And Aaron Nola, one of the most interesting interviews I ever had with him was he said he loves to go to his teammates' charity events because he likes to learn about things he didn't know. Because he's like, I want to understand if I meet somebody who has ALS, what that means, or I want to go meet our veterans. So he likes to go to his teammates' charity events. We are very fortunate in Philadelphia, that clubhouse that we have, because it is not normal. It is not like that everywhere, but so many impressive personalities in there. Okay, but I do want to get to, we have another virtual question brought to you by your Tri-State Toyota dealers. Ashley Hall, take it away.
Ashley.
I'm back. All right, so next one up, guys, from first name Philly, last name Fightins, no doubt a legal name. What are we supposed to expect for Casty? He was amazing last postseason. You can tell he's gotten better. How do we feel going into Red October?
I feel, I feel great, as I just said.
Yeah.
The guy's, I think he's clutch.
Yeah, I'm very listen. This guy plays every day. He had 23 homers, I think, on the year and 85 RBIs or 86 RBIs.
In that neighborhood, yeah.
Sign me up any day of the week for those numbers. And, he hit 250 on the year. It was where he started and where he finished. It's incredible that he was able to make those adjustments. And I'm very confident in the fact that he's going to go up there. He's not going to change his approach. And the thing about Nick is you know what you're going to get out of him. He's not going to change his personality, his approach, or anything like that. The guy goes up and he hits.
Yeah, his first double wasn't until the first week in May, and he still finished with 30 doubles. So the fact that they stuck with him because others would have sat. They would have sat for 3 or 4 days. Clear your head. Don't think about the game. Don't pick up a bat, all that kind of stuff. So, to me, I feel good about him. I know that he was 1 for 24 in the championship series last year, but I think what he did in the divisional series is what you'll see in this divisional series.
Yeah, and he's a feel guy, and right now he feels good.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you that. So you hope that you can keep rolling on that through this week. All right, Ashley Hall has another fan question.
All right, yeah, Adam actually has 2 questions. We're giving him 2 for 1 here because you guys all got to pick your favorite 2 Phillies. So Adam gets 2 questions. First one up is for Michael Barkann.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Barkann.
Adam, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Mr.
You can call me Michael.
Barkann.
You can call me
Monsieur.
Monsieur.
Yeah, Monsieur Michel. Yeah. Go ahead,
I want
Adam.
to know if when the Phillies win the World Series in November, if you're going to be out there climbing poles with us.
With a ladder.
Are they greased?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, then I can't do that. If they're dry poles, I'll climb them. You know what I mean?
You need to reserve a dry pole. Put it reserved like the police reserve parking. Reserved for Michael Barkann.
Here's what I'm going to do. If it's a dry pole, I'm going to get on Ben's shoulders. Tom will be on Ben's shoulders too. I'll climb up, and then I'll
It's like the Italian market climbing.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, next one up is for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the second question is, one person that you guys haven't really talked about today is Bryson Stott. And I know he kind of had a down year, hit like 250, 11 home runs, 50 RBIs. What kind of role do you think he's going to play in the postseason?
I think out of the 2 lefties, he may be the one that doesn't always start against left-handers, but I still think you have to have him out there in crunch time, particularly defensively, because I think that his defense outweighs anything he does offensively right now. He's gotten so much better defensively at second base. His exchange at second base is elite. He is leading the National League in fielding percentage among second basemen. And I think that you win championships because of your defense at the end of games. So I think that he needs to be out there as much as possible.
And you also look at the first 3 pitchers in that rotation in Wheeler, Sanchez, and Nola. These are ground ball guys, and you need to be strong up the middle, and that's exactly what Bryson Stott gives you. I'm worried about defense first, and hopefully anything offensively would be a bonus.
Also, in the postseason, you wipe the slate clean, and that's a double-edged sword.
No doubt.
You can really fall back, or you can be absolutely great. And Bryson Stott has an opportunity to erase what's gone before. It's about the playoffs. They have one standard, and that is winning the World Series. And I think this guy will start hitting. And I'm sure Rob Thompson, if not Kevin Long, is telling him whatever went before means nothing. It all starts right now.
Sounds like a poem.
Thank you. You know what? I'm going to publish that.
I think you should publish that. Or a haiku.
A haiku.
Yeah.
It's very.
And he said yesterday he was looking forward to spending the week working and also getting to actually spend some time with his wife and his baby. And I think it might be a good mental reset on top of everything else, because as we talked before, when you can actually in baseball have that family time, and Bryson always talks about his wife and his child, I think to him that means a lot, and it might be really good to take this bye week. Might be very well served mentally for
I agree
Bryson
with you.
as well.
He also said we have a bye week, but we're not off.
No,
we're working.
Not.
And,
Absolutely
and
not.
do you think they should have played a second simulated game or done anything else along those lines?
It doesn't, based on what it sounds like, the research they did and what works, it seems like this schedule is what they feel like works, both for getting and this is competitive. Like there were 2 or 4 captains, I should say. JT and Bryce Harper, I believe, are captain of one team, and Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner were the captain of the others. And they drafted in a room separate so that it wasn't like dodgeball in gym class and anybody knew who got picked last.
Right.
And they wanted to foster a competitive environment in this, and also I think have a little bit of fun mixed in with it as well. But I kind of like that they're going to do one and then probably see where everybody falls and also what they need to work on, and then they have days to put into that specifically. That seems like that's the right approach. But Dave Dombrowski, from all aspects, seems like he did a lot of research on what has worked for teams like the Astros, what has not worked for teams like the Braves in the bye, and he applied that to this week. So
That's why I think it would be great if the Mets wrapped it up tonight, because they will have off time too, and the Phillies can point to them and say, you know what, they got their break as well. So there's no reason we can't overcome.
Yeah, they're sitting around.
I think
traffic.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, Ben, but I think some of it, I mean, we are talking about it an awful lot. I think some of it creeps into your head. I really do.
Some of what?
Some of the talk of a layoff creeps into your head,
without a doubt,
and becomes more of a factor. I really do. Just play the games.
Yes.
Just play the
That's it.
games.
Just
play the games.
But I will say nothing really bothers these guys, whether they lost the day before or whoever they're playing the next day. They worry about the task at hand. They're very good at that, and I think right now they're just worried about getting ready for Saturday.
Yeah, 100%.
Saturday.
Saturday.
My understanding is that we have a question from a very special
Tom Finer?
Phillies correspondent almost in the UK Phillies fan. Is that right, Ashley?
That is right.
Dave.
Shout out to Dave Shaw, a.k.a. Mr. UK Phillies himself. He wants to know, who was your regular season MVP?
You know, I was asked this in August, and I thought it was Alec Boehm at the time, which is really interesting because at that point I thought he was probably hedging that way. I think it's Kyle Schwarber. I think what he did, you know, to consistently this entire year from the leadoff spot, I think that he was one of the most important pieces to this puzzle.
I'd say Zach Wheeler. And I know he only plays every 5th day, but what he provides for this ball club, I mean, he just really puts them in the best situation to win.
I'd have to go with Zach Wheeler as well. We discussed this on pregame live. I think regardless of the fact that he pitches every 5th day, this guy is an automatic, and you can call a guy an ace and expect him to stop a losing streak or expect him to win on any given night, and they falter, and Zach Wheeler does not. Zach Wheeler comes through. You know when he's on the mound, they're going to take care of business, and if they don't, he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I'm on the Zach Wheeler train as well. And I would have been with you when Alec was on like his RBI tear. I probably would have said Alec right around the All-Star break, but Zach has just been steady and efficient.
It's a shame.
And by the way,
it's a shame you guys don't have a vote.
but you know what, Tommy, you all know this. The Phillies just put out two or 3 days ago, right after the regular season.
Yeah, it was great.
A 1-pager or 2-pager actually, on the reasons that Zach Wheeler is the Cy Young winner.
Resume,
And if you look at ERA and wins and losses, okay, Chris Sale has him there. But that's it. If you look at other important
22
categories.
more innings pitched, right?
Yes.
It's 5 more games, and it's the reason he should have beat Corbin Burns for the Cy Young 2 years ago. It was unjustly – it was just he should have won it because of his workload more than anything else.
What do you think his chances are?
I think they're actually pretty good, and I hate to say this, but the fact that Sale did not pitch the last several days of the season because of back spasms, I do think I would think that that's going to weigh on some of the voters because Zach consistently put up, as Taryn said, those numbers that extended way past what Chris Sale did.
He's not going to be able to go again today, right?
He is not pitching in the right now in the postseason.
All right, I am told that this is our final fan question brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers. So let's welcome in Ashley Hall one more time.
Ashley.
Just one more time with my girl Jamie. And this is the final question, so it's kind of a big deal. I want everyone to hear it.
Well, it would be anyway.
I can't mess this up.
Jamie.
Right, don't mess it up, guys. All right, Jamie, take it away.
Thanks. In my best Ricky Bo impression, what are your final predictions for the NLDS?
NLDS, Phillies take it in 3 or 4.
You have to pick one. Pick
Phillies
one.
take it in 4. I can't. Come on, 3. I think it's going to be tough to do it, but I'll go 3 if you want me to. There you go.
I'm going to say 4 as well, and I have them winning the World Series over the Astros in 6.
I don't want to play the Astros again.
No.
It smells like must down in Houston and stuff like. I don't want to go there.
Wait, before you answer, Tom, how
Great
much
hotel, though.
How much advantage does the team that wins the first game in the wild card round have? I mean, look at the teams that
88%.
88%.
88%.
So ain't
if you
gonna
win
be
the wild
Houston.
card first game. Yeah, if you win the first game in the wild card, 88% of the time, the way the structure is, you've won it. I think it's going to be. My daughter Maggie's calling.
Hi,
I
Maggie.
think it's going to be. I think the Phillies are going to take it in 3.
In 3?
Yeah. And it's going to cost me less money if it's the Mets because my son does the Mets games and he's not going to pay for any tickets. I'm going to have to pay for all the tickets.
There you go.
I'm going Phillies in 3 as well. It kind of scares me if they go to 4. So I like Phillies in 3. And I have a friend up at MLB Network. I won't name her by name in case she doesn't want me to say this. But she thinks it's going to be a Phillies-Yankees World Series.
That would be awesome.
So it would be interesting to bookend the playoffs
Yes.
with New York teams. You
You're
take
right.
one out to start, take the second out to end it.
That's
would
why
be
I wanted the Mets in the NLCS. I thought that would be cool. NLCS, you beat the Mets. Series, you beat the Yankees. Oh, would have been
2009 revenge.
Yeah. But also conquest over New York, man. You take either league, we got you covered.
Also, it would be so nice to have New York fans see just how much more passionate and like maybe a nutty way, but I say that affectionately as I am from here and one of those nutty people. The Philadelphia fan gets it. It is every pitch. It is every defensive play, every at-bat. It is investment to 150%, which
Also,
is so much fun.
Taryn, you and Tom in particular can speak to what the players coming in from out of town, Phillies, who have been with other teams, how blown away they are by the fans and all the adulation and the booing and just how frenetic it gets at the ballpark. They got to be blown away by it.
They're blown away by all of it, I think. And you just think about going back to 2008 when Jason Bartlett of the Tampa Bay Rays said to Chase Utley, how do you play here? It's so loud. I can't hear myself think. I mean, that's where it started. That's where the genesis of this whole thing was.
Yeah, and I know Rob Thompson said 2 years ago an opposing coach called it 4 hours of hell.
And now it's 2 hours and 20 minutes with the pitch timer.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes of hell.
Which I love.
And it was very interesting talking to Carlos Estevez when he came over, and he was like, I love it here because I know it's pressure, but that's what I'm good with. And he's like, everywhere you go, like someone's aunt in the shop, right, will come up to you and be like, I need to talk to you about what the Phillies did in that game last week. And Carlos is like 6'6" and 250 some pounds, and he's like, little ladies don't come walking up to me and talk like that.
He's a big dude.
But he said he loves it. He can't wait to see it in the postseason because they hang on every single second of everything, which is, I mean, it's a lot, but it's suffocating for opposing teams.
It's your pal, certainly not my pal, John Kruk, who said upon going into the Wall of Fame, I feel sorry for the players who never wanted to play here because they didn't have the guts to want to try to win here.
J.D. Drew.
Yeah, J.D. Drew. Get out.
100%. But we all have the guts, right? Everybody
Yes.
here. You have the guts to believe. You have the guts to root for this team.
Heck yeah.
And we hope that you'll spread more Red October.
Yeah, Red
love
October. Yeah.
throughout the month. I want to say thank you to all the fans who came out here and joined us today, as well
Thank
as the
you,
fans
everybody.
who joined virtually.
Yeah,
for
thanks,
the,
everybody.
For the
Yeah, this is
rally
great.
For Red October.
Thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
Hollywood.
Thank you for joining the Rally for Red October live Q&A presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud partners of the Philadelphia Phillies. Can we get a Let's Go Phils?
Let's go, Phils. Let's go.
Go, Phil!
Bobby is in it. Red October. It's here.